Hey, shalom, shalom. I'll start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shem Yahshai, Shem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to you, brothers, pushing the truth throughout the four winds. As you can see, this video will be entitled Moods. And what inspired it is I was in the gym a couple days ago, and it was something I was kind of not so much worried about, but just in this certain headspace about a situation. And then I got news on the situation, and the news was good. And you can feel the energy shift. It's like kind of like a good report maketh the bones fat, so to say. It's a beautiful thing when you get that news, but the whole point was you feel the spirit shift. And it's basically everything is controlled by spirits. Everything that happens, a spirit is tied to it. I pray this is edifying through some of these scriptures. I'm going to basically give a better understanding, okay? Hebrews 12:9, it says, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we have gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? So, with that being said, Yahweh Shem Yahshai is in control of all spirits. Okay, the Father of spirits. So it's certain things that come up on you, and it could change the whole trajectory of your day, but it's a spirit, In Proverbs 18:21, it says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So things you say, it's a spirit over things you say. Everything and everyone walking this planet, it's a spirit on them. That's why it's always good to keep a certain type of people around. Even that's controlled by spirits, because everything you do, you're meant to be in every situation that you're in. It was all written. It was all set up to be that way. So we can just pray that the Lord keeps us in the best situations according to his will. Okay. 1 Samuel 16:14, it says, but the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. So it was a spiritual swap out. Okay. 15, and Saul's servant said unto him, behold now, an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. So he saw the switch out, and you see the switch out with the spirit through temperaments, a certain way people move. You just understand. It's like, man, he got a spirit on him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a certain way that you'll speak, and you can just see the changeover. But this is what happened with with Saul here. It was a spirit swap out. It said the Spirit of the Lord departed from him, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. Okay. Now this is Job 1 and 10. Hast not thou made, or hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the Lord, in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So that spirit had to have permission for everything to transpire against Job. So it was a spirit on someone to set those things on fire. It was a spirit for his children to be taken out. It was a spirit on everything, a spirit even on the ones that went and relayed the message that this burned. I only am alive to tell you what's going on. So saying that to say, when we're on our everyday walks in life, understand that when someone comes up to you or someone is speaking a certain way, be in the spirit to know that it's a spirit on them to try to knock you off the mind frame that you need to be in. You know, that's how Satan basically moves, you know. 1 Kings 22:19, it says, And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall into Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in his mouth, in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so. So, not only is it spirits for moods, it's spirits for lies. You see that? It's a spirit for hunger. It's spirits for everything. Okay? But just being aware and understanding that this is what it is. Like the spiritual battles is always going to be, everything is controlled by spirits, the father of all spirits. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach. There be spirits that are created for vengeance. Now you have a lying spirit, spirits of the moves. Now spirits to get even. You do something that you shouldn't do, then the balance has to be paid. And that's the spirit of vengeance. It says, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. So something can happen to someone and a spirit was set up. I say it's a car crash. Or let's say you have somebody going around unaliving people, and all of a sudden, five of his family members are unalive. Okay, that's vengeance. It says, which in their fury lay on sore strokes, in the time of destruction, Salakia, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So with all these spirits that set up, it's all of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So whatever we'll go through tomorrow, it was a spirit set up, and when you think about this, these spirits aren't just on humans. They're on everything. You can be driving, someone can be driving, and a spirit can hop on a deer to run in front of the car. That was supposed to happen. That spirit had it that way, set up that way. Okay? But you have to just understanding these things, that all things are controlled by spirits. Daniel 6:16. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, thy God, whom thou servest continually, will he deliver thee? And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said unto Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Check this out. Then Daniel said unto the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angel and has shut the lions' mouths. Check that out. So, tossed them in the lion's den, and the Lord had a spirit set up to where those lions wasn't even hungry. Just imagine that. Everything is controlled by spirits, your moods, like everything. Okay? It says that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. So, tossing the lions den, using the lions for pillows, they could do nothing to them because a spirit was set forth to have them in a headspace of a fulfillment. If I'm not mistaken, I think they actually starved the lion, so when he went in, they would be hungry. So imagine the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua sending a spirit of fulfillment to where these lions felt like they've eaten. And then one of the people who threw them in, they fell in and the lions ate them. So he had to remove the spirit, that was on them and put a hunger spirit back on them. When you truly understand this and understand that everything is controlled by spirits, it should ease your walk in prayer and ask the Lord that, like some spirits can't be moved except through praying and fasting. So understanding this spiritual aspect is something we should always have in our minds. With that, I want to say shalom.